Hi everyone, it's Miss Smith here, about to teach you all about locating points on a coordinate plane. So it's really important that we understand how to find points on a coordinate plane, and before we really do that, we need to make sure we understand what an ordered pair is and what a coordinate plane is. So I know we've been talking about this for a couple days now, so it shouldn't be too new, but it's really interesting to learn about how maps work and how we can find places on a coordinate plane. So get ready to take some notes and learn all about finding places on a coordinate plane.
Before we get too into finding the places on the coordinate plane, let's review what ordered pairs are. So a pair of perpendicular lines called the axis intersect at 0 for each line. We call the place where the lines meet, 0, 0, the origin. A given point on the plane is located by using an ordered pair of numbers called coordinates. In our ordered pair, the first number is going to be the x value, indicated on how far you travel from the origin horizontally along the x-axis. And the second number is the y value, which indicates how far you travel vertically, so up and down, along the y-axis. I wanted to review the 4 quadrants of our coordinate plane. Quadrant 1 always starts in the top right-hand corner. Then we go counterclockwise as we label the rest. So quadrant 2 is the top left, quadrant 3 is the bottom left, and quadrant 4 is the bottom right. Let's talk about the values we see in each quadrant now. In quadrant 1, our numbers are always going to be a positive x and a positive y. I've highlighted the x and the y-axis so you can see that all of the numbers are positive values. In quadrant 2, we have negative x values but positive y values. So the ordered pairs for all places in quadrant 2 are going to be a negative and then a positive. In quadrant 3, we have a negative x and negative y. So we'll have both negative numbers for our x and our y in quadrant 3. And finally, in quadrant 4, we have positive x numbers and negative y numbers. So in quadrant 4, we'll always have a positive number first and a negative number second. For this first problem, I want us to locate the police station. We see the police station is the blue symbol with the shield on it, or the badge. In order to get to the police station, I need to move 4 places to the right. So I need to move 4 positive places on the x-axis, and then I need to move down 4 spaces, which if I'm going down, I'm going into the negatives. So we would identify the police station in quadrant 4, meaning it's going to have a positive x and a negative y. Identify the ordered pair for the police station. Hopefully you said that the police station is at positive 4, negative 4, because we went over to the right 4 spaces and then down 4 spaces. Next, we want to figure out what location can be found at the coordinate 6, 4. Now 6 and 4 are both positive numbers, so that means it needs to be in what quadrant? If you said quadrant 1, give yourself a round of applause. Those are both positive numbers, which means we're going to be focused in quadrant 1. In quadrant 1, we have 2 different locations. We have the school, which is the red symbol, or the house, which is the purple symbol. If I move over 6 spaces on the x-axis, or 6 spaces to the right, which place does it look like I'm going to end up at? When I move 4 spaces up, I end up at the house. So hopefully you figured out that the house is located at 6, 4. Next, I want to figure out what location can be found at negative 5, negative 2. Now, who can remember, if I have 2 negative numbers, what quadrant am I going to end up in? If you said quadrant 3, give yourself a pat on the back. If I have 2 negative numbers, a negative x and a negative y, I'm going to be down in the bottom right corner, or the bottom left corner in quadrant 3. I'm going to start by moving 5 places to the left into the negative x numbers. Once I move over 5 spaces, Let's figure out which one we're going to end up at. In quadrant 3, we see the library and the city hall. Based on me moving 5 spaces, where do you think we are going to end up? When I move 2 spaces down, I end up at City Hall. If you figured out we were going to end up at City Hall, give yourself a thumbs up. Okay, so now I want to figure out where the school is located. The school is the red symbol with a little building inside of it. I see that it is in quadrant 1, which means it's going to have a positive x and a positive y. I need to move over 2 spaces on the x-axis. Then I need to go up 1 space. What's going to be the ordered pair for that problem? You should have written 2, 1. For question number 5, we need to figure out which location can be found at the coordinates -4, 5. For this one, we have a negative x and a positive y. So let's try to think back to figure out which quadrant this is going to be in. Now I've moved -4 spaces, so that means it can either be in quadrant 2 or quadrant 3. If I have the 5, which is a positive number, I'm going to end up in quadrant number 2. Now if you move up 5 spaces, you find that we're at the park. You could have also figured this out because the park is the only location in quadrant number 2. And the last location I would like us to find today is the library. I need to first identify the library. It's the light green shape with a person reading a book. Now, it's in quadrant 3, so I'm going to have a negative x and a negative y. Now, I first need to move over 3 spaces to the left. I then need to move down a whole bunch of spaces. How many spaces do I need to move down, and what's the ordered pair? Hopefully you counted 6 spaces down, which means the library is located at -3, -6. All right, now that we've done a bunch of practice problems as a group, let's make sure we go try out our Google form to see what we learned.